Hey there, mindful travelers, and welcome to another episode of The Caring Traveler, a show where we shed light on the good in the world by sharing stories of people who do more than travel. These caring and selfless men strive to change the world one nameless stranger at a time through conscious action wherever they happen to find themselves. Now, I am happy to welcome Tony Jefferson today. Tony is the owner and founder of travelingsession.com, an online review platform that strives to help you pick better travel destinations. He's done a myriad of things. He was an Air Force vet for 21 years, but I'm not going to take all the limelight from him. I'm going to let him tell his story. So, Tony, thank you so much for joining me today. And why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Uh, how's it going? Glad to be here. Said Tony Jefferson. Originally from South Carolina, joined the Air Force after a year of college. Spent most of my time overseas. That helped influence my love for travel, which gave me the idea for starting a travel website.
Okay.
So I lived in Germany, Japan, Korea, visited 30 other countries. Finally retired in Florida, and while I was in, I did IT. So I knew when I retired, I wanted to mesh those two worlds, that travel and that IT background together. And pretty much that's how you got me here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then your website, I know it has a big IT base. I was looking at it earlier, and it's fantastic. I love your website. I love the look of it, and it definitely drives you through. Drives a new visitor through to the spots that we need to see. What is traveling session? What would you tell someone if they came up and said, "Hey, I heard about this. What is it?"
So the simplest answer would be a social media website focused on travel. But I really hate to say that because there's a whole lot more to it than that.
Okay.
So let me give you a scenario that gives a better understanding of what the site is about. Let's say you want to buy a shirt. So you go online, you find a shirt you think you like. What's the first thing you do? Read the reviews. Let's say the shirt has 1,000 5-star reviews. Should be a good shirt. But what if all those people that wrote those reviews were tall people that wanted to wear the shirt untucked, and you're a short person that wants to wear the shirt tucked in?
Hmm.
All those
Probably not gonna
five-star
fit me right.
reviews don't do any good anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
So the problem is the reviews are all focused on the shirt. They're not focused on the person who wants to wear the shirt. And that's really the approach most websites take towards travel. It's focused on the destination. So what we want to do is change that focus to the individual traveler.
Okay. Gotcha. So, like, if I want to go to Paris, I shouldn't just jump on TripAdvisor. I mean, I'm going to see all these amazing reviews about the Eiffel Tower, but what if I'm single, right? Is that what
Yeah,
you're talking about? Kind of like, I don't want to go to Paris because the romance, right?
yeah.
Okay.
It's, I mean, there's so many different factors why people travel to a place. So we tried to break it down to, okay, what are the essential things that people want when they're traveling someplace? They're going to want their things to do. They're, for me personally, food. I'm all about food anytime I travel. Nightlife. How much is it going to cost? How safe is it? So what we did with our travel reviews is we broke them down to where there's a different rating for each of those categories. But what makes us different is anyone can rate that destination or write their own travel review on that destination. So when you come to the site, you're not just getting that one person's, you're not just getting my interpretation of the place. You're going to get multiple. And
So
then
how do you match the right people with the right people? So how do I come in and know that I'm getting a review by someone that likes similar things as me?
so we have another big thing that we do is our travel profiles. And the profiles is where you will set like your what's important to you in a travel destination. But what we also do is that's where you can select your travel styles. And we'll let you pick one primary and two secondary travel styles, trying to like define your own unique way of traveling. So when you're reading reviews from other people, you can see what their style of travel is. Somebody that matches you, that makes that review more relevant to you.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like if
So
I'm a
like
budget traveler,
yeah,
it's not gonna a review from a luxury traveler isn't gonna really help me that much.
I gotcha. Okay. So like we have a lot of listeners who are typically families, world schooling families, they got kids. Would that fit into a profile? So like they would fill out a profile and find other families that reviewed things?
Yes. So and that's another thing that we like to do when we do our reviews. We give folks the option to add their travel category because it also makes sense for your review. You want somebody who's traveling, like a local's perspective might be completely different than a tourist's perspective versus an expat. Going someplace for a week might be awesome. It might not be a place you want to live for 2 or 3 years at a time. So we also have those categories so you can select those, like whether you were traveling with family, where you're traveling with kids. It's to help you find. We want to try and help people find that little tribe that help encourage them to travel more.
Okay.
You want to
Now,
find.
now what about when it comes to a big push for us is, responsible travel, sustainability, limiting our impact on the world. How can we use your site to help that when we're traveling?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me when I think of sustainability with our website, when I lived when I lived overseas, like we started going to like all these the big famous places, the big touristy places that everybody else goes. Then I realized like there are these smaller places that like you just never hear about, and it's probably a better match for you than say a bigger place. Like if you're not really comfortable with like crowds, Paris might not be for you, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go to Paris. You got Nice, you got Lyon, you've got Cannes. I mean, there's all these different places, but you don't really hear about those places. We all hear about Paris. So we want to try and get people to visit these smaller places, and then in that way we can hope to cut down on over tourism
Okay.
because that is a
Now,
big problem.
now, what do you see as the difference between travel and tourism? Or is there one?
There's a blurry line. They overlap, but like tourism, I would say is more. Like I said, going to like those tourist places, like
Okay.
the Eiffel Tower, those sort of
So
things.
kind of
I think
kind of like how
like
you behave when you're there, maybe. Would that make
yeah,
sense?
like your intent.
Okay. And then travel is kind of just the movement.
Yeah, like if
That's
I
cool.
went to, I would say like tourism is if I went to Jamaica and I stayed in an all inclusive and hung out and partied for a week. Where travel would be if I went to Jamaica and like actually like got to experience the country and actually get
Okay.
out and talk to locals and
Okay. So experience, you touched on that word right there. And I know for those of you who follow me in my blog, you'll see that Tony has a fully written question and answer blog post on my website, novelexcursion.com, where he answers a whole bunch of deep questions that I asked him. We're kind of touching on it a little bit here, but we really dig deep over there. So check that out. But we talked about ways of traveling in that interview. And we were talking about, we kind of had this, not really a disagreement. We just saw things a little differently. I think we touched on it before this. But I asked about, the difference between how you travel from education to experience. And I think your answer was particularly interesting to me because, I am a big proponent on education. I'm, trying to promote this idea that there's immersive learning wherever you go. And you mentioned that you prefer experience over education. And your example was something to the degree of, the, what was it? I think it was the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci that, you would learn about it in a book, but if you experienced it, there's so much more to it. And I think I asked you about it, and I'd love for you to share your perspective on, that answer about experience versus education and how you see things.
Well, in the answer, I said I prefer experience over education, but I think a better way to say it would be, I think we need to start including a more experience-based education. I think we're starting to get behind in terms of education. Like we're not really evolving. Like I don't think like education has really kept up with technology. So I mean, there's so much more that you can add to a lesson by actually experiencing it rather than just reading about it in a book or in a class. Like I said, like your example with the Last Supper, it would say education would let you know that Leonardo da Vinci painted the Last Supper. Experience would let you know that it's not a painting, it's actually a mural on the side of a wall in a castle in Milan. And that's where I'm saying,
Gotcha.
Experience.
Yeah, and I think that ties nicely into, our form of alternative education, which is world schooling. And that's it's based on experiential learning. So it's using, the world around you, the cultures, the experiences, and everything to teach you something. So I think that's where we just had, it's a beautiful thing in communication. I think we were talking the same thing, just saying it in different words. So that's awesome. How do you do it? Do you have kids?
3.
You have 3. Okay. And you said you were stationed in multiple different countries, right?
Yes.
Did your kids grow up in those different cultures, and how was that experience?
Yeah. So actually, my youngest daughter was actually born in Japan. My middle child, my older daughter, her first language was actually Japanese.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So like when she was about 1, well, because they were close, we didn't trying to have like 2 babies in the house at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So we put her in preschool first. And we didn't know she was talking until one of the teachers sent home a note, says, your daughter speaks very good Japanese. Like, okay.
So you don't speak Japanese.
So she could understand Japanese, she could understand English, she could speak Japanese, she could speak English. She couldn't understand that we didn't speak Japanese. So she
Oh,
was
wow.
Japanese. And so, I mean, she's a baby, so
Yeah, so you thought it was just like baby talk.
yeah. But
That's hilarious.
she's having full-blown conversations with us. She's getting frustrated because we don't
Like
understand what she's
I,
saying.
I'm telling you what I need, and you're just not listening. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Now, what about your other kids? Were they born in other countries too?
No, no, they were all born. They were born in the U.S., but they spent most of their school years overseas.
Oh, wow.
I think
Okay. And
we
what was that
spent
experience like
eight.
for them?
I think they enjoyed it. They're at that age now. They're all actually they're all gone now. My youngest one started college this year, 3 for 3 for college.
Oh, wow. All right. That's good. Did you rely on traditional education, or did you do any alternative forms?
See, mostly I mean, we did the traditional schools, but like I said, a big thing for us was just making sure our kids had those experiences. So, I mean, like when we're traveling, they're right at the hip with us.
Gotcha.
They've been, uh, I still have to go back and count, figure out how many countries they've each been to, because
I'm sure it's a lot if you, yeah, it's very easy when people don't realize that, especially Americans who haven't traveled. Like when you're there, it's super easy to get to a whole bunch of different countries.
oh, it's just any random weekend. It's like, so when we first moved to Germany, where we were at close to a little bit north of Trier, close to the Belgian border.
Okay.
But we needed furniture. Okay, closest IKEA is in Belgium. Okay, we ended up spending the weekend in Brussels. Never made it to IKEA.
That's amazing. Man, you got lucky. You were in a good spot. I liked where I was, but I wished I was a little closer to the northern borders and stuff. I was down in Grafenwehr over by Hamburg and Munich, so
Oh
on
yeah,
the other side, complete other side. But we got to go to
yeah.
Austria and Czech and Poland quite a bit.
Oh, I love Prague.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. So going back, kind of driving the conversation a little bit back to what you do with travel sessions. So it sounds like you're trying to change, the dynamic of this review system that we have that's just proliferating online. You can find anything. You can Google one destination and you'll find so many resources that, it's absolutely overwhelming. And I've had people come to me and talk about it that I've Googled someplace and I've seen so much information that, I just got overwhelmed and said, you know what? Nope, not going. I'm just staying home. So is that kind of something that you're trying to address with your offer and services?
Well, like I said, the big thing is we want to. A review means more if it comes from somebody that you have something in common. So what we're trying to do is link you with those people that you have something in common with. So your reviews mean something to them, their reviews mean something to you, and that's how you can help alleviate that anxiety about visiting someplace.
I got you.
Like I said, if
Yeah.
somebody said like I'm trying to think of like I haven't been to Dubai, but like Dubai, like if you listen to everybody, like Dubai is like the super expensive place. If you don't have like a ton of money, there's no point in going. But then but if you talk to people that are like more on like your level that have been to Dubai, there's ways to operate in Dubai that without spending a fortune out there.
Yeah, it really depends on your travel style and the decisions you make, right?
Yeah, like I said, that's what you have to match. You have to find those people that have been to the places that you want to go that have the same travel styles.
I
You
got
can
you.
sit there and Google that forever, but
Yeah, good luck. Good luck. I mean, I'm a travel writer as well, and I know what SEO is. Good luck finding the exact keyword that says, I am this type of traveler in this place, and I need that. So,
and then even when you like Google, you're not finding that's not necessarily you're finding the best travel writers. You're finding the guys that have found the way to rank in Google the best.
Exactly. Yeah. That's frustrating. That's very frustrating. Um, but yeah, I think I love the concept of travel session. I think it's absolutely, right where people need to go. I mean, that's the way we should be looking at travel. I think there's a big market for it as well, because I know at least in our communities, of the world schooling communities, there's a huge kind of market in Facebook, bunch of Facebook groups where people are going there, trying to find like-minded people and find those people who've had that experience so they can advise them on that and they can ask those questions. Like I'm in a ton of different world schooling groups, and every day I see, tons of questions. Just, hey, I have 4 kids of this age and I'm going to this place. Like, has anyone done this? And I think that's what you are hitting on. I mean, that is literally what you do with your travel profiles. So people don't have to go in and inquire and hope someone answers. They can literally go in, fill out their profile, and there's someone in there already, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So I think people don't realize like the last 2 years broke a lot of things. And a lot of people realize now that like, hey, I don't have to stay here anymore. I can go wherever. I can find remote work. I can find work at this new place I'm going. I can start my own business. So you have a lot more people that aren't just going for that weekend or a week to travel someplace to and then come home. You got people that are looking at, hey, I want to go someplace for 6 months and just hang out and just write. You've got people that are like, yeah, I'm sick of my country. I'm just not coming back. I'm deuces. And so trying to match all these people with the people that can give them the information that they need, that's like the overall mission of what we're trying to do.
I love it. I think it's great. So before we run out of time, can you give us just kind of a layman's terms of how does the site work? So if I come to the site and I want to, let's go from a contributor aspect first. What if I go there and I want to contribute, reviews and stuff that I've experienced to your website? How would I go about doing that?
So right now, if you go there and you see a destination that we've already published a review for, without logging into the site, you can actually go and actually rate that location. Just put in the star ratings for that different location. Now, if you log in, if you join the site, that opens up. Now you can write like a full review for that location. And that's going to give you where you can put in your different travel categories, like whether you went with kids or not, let you put in your comments, add the different pros and cons. And now after you submit your review, that goes into our pool of numbers. When somebody else comes there, they're going to see your review and everybody else's reviews, and they're going to get their own score for that location. That's just unique to them. So let's say you want to go and you want to change your setting. You don't, now you would go to your profile. Your profile is like the hub for everything. You're going to be able, that's where you're going to go and you can set your travel styles. So when someone reads your reviews, they can see your travel styles, how you travel. It's going to have the list of your favorite cities from the interactive map, which I will talk about that in a second. It's going to have a list of all the places that you reviewed, so they can see like your opinion. They can get like an overall snapshot of all the places that you've been. Uh, and we're still adding more. Like this isn't the final version. Trying not to talk about things that I haven't done yet, but I'm kind
More
of
to follow. More to follow.
I'm excited. I'm excited. But
Well,
outside, but then outside the profile, you can go to our interactive map, and there you can select our countries that you visited, and that your own personal map will show up in your profiles, and then you can download your own copy if you want as well. And
okay.
then from the map, we put like we have like what the overall part is the selecting the different countries that all the countries that you've been to so that we can get trends on like the most visited countries. But then we also have it in there like where you can select like your favorite cities for like your favorite city for food, your favorite city for nightlife, and then we can do a visual representation of the map of that as well for other people to come see.
Okay. That's
It's,
amazing.
I'm just thinking up tools to, like I said, try and promote people to go out and see the world.
That's great. That is really cool. I love it. And so you're still building on it. So more to follow. Definitely as you develop it, I want to stay in touch with you and probably bring you on again if you have any big unveilings or anything, any big, new announcements you'd like to share with the group. But where can we find you? Where can my audience find you when they're looking? I know you got travelingsession.com right below your name or right next to your name. Is there anywhere else?
Uh, we're all over social media. At most places, we're at Traveling Session. But if you really want to find us, just go to travelingsession.com, contact us, and it has all our social media links, and there's a contact wizard there for you.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll include all those links down below, in addition to a brief little bio about you. I really appreciate you coming today, Tony. I can't wait to hear more about what's going on with Traveling Session. I encourage all of you listening out there to check it out. I think this is awesome. This is really good for the community. You world schoolers out there who are looking for like-minded people who have done it. If you're just embarking on your journey, a lot of us are, even if we aren't, there's places we haven't been to. So check out Tony's site. I mean, you might find exactly what you're looking for instead of spending hours on Facebook hoping that someone will give you that insight. So I encourage you to check it out. Tony, thanks again for joining.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having
And,
me.
yeah, and if you liked what you heard, I urge you click subscribe. We have a ton of travel content going on right now. I have a list of people that are going to be coming on to interview. We're going to be talking about things as far as, travel reviews to education, world schooling, and the whole shebang. So come back for more and don't forget to travel mindfully.